Welcome back, friends. Today's biography, George Washington Carver. Let's go. George Washington Carver loved studying plants. He showed farmers how to grow sustainable crops. That helped them farm better and eat better. He also found that hundreds of things could be made from peanut plants. Growing plants helped farmers earn money. This painting of George Washington Carver was made in 1942. In Carver's time, life was hard for many black people in the United States. They did not have the same rights as white people. Carver felt this was wrong. He used his ideas about farming to help change people's lives. Carver was one of the most famous African Americans of his time. George Washington Carver was born on a farm near Diamond, Missouri, USA. Most people think he was born around 1864. No one knows for sure, but we do know he was born a slave. Back then, slaves were often given their owner's last name. George's owners were Moses and Susan Carver, so his last name was Carver too. The cabin where Carver lived as a boy is gone. This outline was built later to show how small it was. This sketch was drawn by Carver. It shows how he remembers the cabin. One night, men kidnapped baby Carver and his mother. He was returned to the farm, but his mother was not. Soon after, slavery ended. Moses and Susan decided to raise George. As a boy, he loved to explore the farm. He collected rocks. He grew a garden. He asked questions. This statue shows Carver as a boy. It stands at the George Washington Carver National Monument in Diamond, Missouri. This was the first national monument to honor an African American. Carver grew up in the Midwest, United States during the 1870s. Back then, many things were different from how they are today. Many people traveled on foot in wagons pulled by horses or by steamboat or train. Most freed slaves had little or no money. They often traded or things they needed. Children spent time outdoors and played with handmade toys. In George Washington Carver's time, Ulysses S. Grant was re-elected President of the United States. Few people shopped in stores for food. Instead, they raised farm animals. They also grew fruits and vegetables to feed their families. Children went to schools in a one-room schoolhouse or even old barns. What do you think of that? Carver loved to learn, but in his town, black children could not go to school. Carver learned to read at home. He had only one book. Carver wanted to learn more. At around age 13, he left home. He lived with a black family in a nearby town. There, he went to school for black children. This drawing shows a school for black children during Carver's time. Later, Carver wanted to go to college. Many black Americans still faced racism. One school would not let Carver in because he was black, but he didn't give up. He became the first black student at Iowa State College. He studied agriculture. In 1894, Carver got his degree from Iowa State College. Fun facts about Carver. He grew up on a farm with horses, cattle, honeybees, and wheat crops. As a boy, Carver helped people with their sick plants. They called him the plant doctor. 3 U.S. presidents asked for Carver's advice on farming. Carver loved art. He made paint from berries. He tied twigs together for a brush. After college, Carver became a teacher. He worked at a school in Alabama called Tuskegee Institute. There, he did important work with plants. He found many new ways to use sweet potatoes and soybeans. He invented hundreds of new things such as paints, plastics, and dyes. Here's Carver. And this is his lab at Tuskegee Institute. He also wanted to help farmers. He built a classroom on a wagon. It was pulled by mules. He drove the wagon to nearby farms to teach about agriculture. Carver thought that planting peanuts could help farmers too. Peanut plants would keep the soil healthy. Farmers could also sell this crop to earn more money. Carver had found more than 300 ways to use peanut plants. They could be turned into glue, medicine, gasoline, and even paper. Carver traveled. He gave speeches about farming. He spoke about peanuts. He also spoke about treating all people fairly. In 1921, he spoke to the U.S. Congress. Some people in Congress didn't want to listen to a black man, but he had good ideas. Finally, Congress listened. They shared his ideas with others. Carver said, "I want to feel that my life has been of some service to my fellow man." Carver died in 1943. He was around 79 years old. Carver's hard work helped many people. His ideas helped poor farmers have better lives. His story shows that power of learning and helping others. The end.